Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Study Time. So today we will do the question answers from the chapter Mrs. Packletide's Tiger. The question number 4 in your book is read the extract and answer the questions that follows. It was Lucia Mebin who drew attention to the fact that the goat was in death throes from a mortal bullet wound, while no trace of the rifle's deadly work could be found on the tiger. Evidently, the wrong animal had been hit, and the beast of prey had succumbed to heart failure caused by the sudden report of the rifle, accelerated by senile decay. Mrs. Packletide was pardonably annoyed at the discovery, but at any rate she was the possessor of a dead tiger, and the villagers, anxious for their 1,000 rupees, gladly connived at the fiction that she had shot the beast, and Miss Babin was a paid companion. The first question arises here is which line from the extract support the idea that people had no doubts about Mrs. Packletide missing her mark? तो उन्हें उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता था. The villagers, anxious for their 1,000 rupees, gladly connived at the fiction that she had shot the beast. क्योंकि वो खुशी खुशी उस बात को एक्सेप्ट कर गए कि उसने एक टाइगर को मारा है, not the goat. Select the option that correctly reveals the character traits of Mrs. Packletide. यहाँ पर Mrs. Packletide का कैसा character आपको दिख रहा है? The right option is 1, 3 and 4, miserly, blunt and greedy. Now select the idiom that captures the central idea of the extract, that is, being ignorant is not so much a shame as being unwilling to learn. आइडेंटिफाई द राइटर्स टोन इन दिस एक्सट्रैक्ट. यहाँ पर राइटर की टोन कैसी है? राइटर की टोन को हमेशा एडजेक्टिव से ही you can answer it in an adjective. The writer's tone here is satirical. That is an adjective that describes satire, that is sarcastic, critical and mocking another's weaknesses. Select the option that displays the reason for Mrs. Packletide's brief annoyance, that is the death of the goat, because वो एक टाइगर को मारना चाहती थी, but ultimately एक goat मर जाती है. Answer the following questions in your own words. Now, question number 1A here is, what made Mrs. Packletide decide to give a party in Luna Bimberton's honor? What did she intend to give Luna on her birthday? So there are two questions. Here, Mrs. Packletide's only aim in life was to surpass Luna Bimberton, who was very popular for her adventurous and exciting deeds. By giving a party in her honor, Mrs. Packletide wanted to show her that she had done a more adventurous and exciting thing by shooting a tiger. She even wanted to gift a tiger claw brooch to Luna on her birthday just to outshine her. So who was Miss Mebin, and was she really devoted to Mrs. Packletide? How did she behave during the tiger shooting? तो ये तीनों आंसर्स आपको देने हैं. Miss Mebin was a paid companion. Mrs. Packletide had acquired her so that she could witness the shooting of the tiger. She was very materialistic. She didn't want to do more than she was paid for. In fact, she said that it would be useless to pay for the tiger if it didn't touch the goat. So she was not at all devoted to Mrs. Packletide. She was there only for the money. Mrs. Packletide was a good shot. Discuss. Mrs. Packletide was not a good shot, as she was not a professional hunter. When she took her shot in wounded and killed the goat, and not the tiger, who suffered a heart failure and died. What comment did Miss Mebin make after Mrs. Packletide fired the shot? And why did Miss Mebin make this comment? And how did Miss Packletide react to this comment? Miss Mebin commented that the shot had killed the goat while the tiger had died of a heart attack. Miss Mebin intended to blackmail Mrs. Packletide with this piece of information. She wanted to make more money from her. Mrs. Packletide got annoyed at Miss Mebin's comment for pointing out the true happening, but she was not too concerned because she never imagined that she would use this piece of information against her. Briefly comment on the behavior of the villagers throughout the story. See, the villagers were very excited at the prospect of earning 1,000 rupees. They posted children at the outskirts of the jungle to keep a watch on the tiger in case he wanders off to new hunting grounds. Goats were scattered to keep him satisfied and to prevent him from straying. Mothers with babies walked quietly through the jungle so as not to disturb its sleep. The villagers were only worried about the tiger that should not die of old age before the day of shoot. A platform had been constructed on a comfortable and convenient place on a tree for Mrs. Packletide and her paid companion. The villagers, anxious for their 1,000 rupees, gladly connived at the fiction that she had shot the beast, but it was actually the goat that was shot dead. Did Mrs. Packletide achieve her heart's desire? Give reason for your answer. Packletide was able to achieve her heart's desire of killing a tiger and to show off that she was the possessor of a dead tiger. She wanted her photographs to be published in the newspaper. Her desire was accomplished positively. She was able to outdo Luna Bimberton and she sent her a gift of a tiger claw brooch. How did Miss Mabin manage to get her weekend cottage, and why did she plant so many tiger lilies in her garden? Lucia Mabin blackmailed Mrs. Packletide into buying her the weekend cottage, or else she would have told Luna Bimberton that it was not the tiger but a mere goat that Mrs. Packletide had shot. The tiger lilies would always remind of how she had procured the cottage. The incidental expenses are so heavy, she confides to inquiring friends, who is the speaker, what is she referring to here? Mrs. Packletide is the speaker. The lines are said in response to question regarding why she did not hunt anymore. Mrs. Packletide is referred to the expenses that she incurred when she hunted for the first time. She paid the villagers, she paid Lucy Mibin, and even had to buy her a cottage. Do you think the silent figure of Luna Bimberton in the background plays a crucial role in the story? Explain. Luna Bimberton is an attention seeking London socialite whose sole purpose in the story is to act as a foil to Mrs. Packletide's jealous behaviors. After undertaking flight with an Algerian aviator, Bimberton is supremely jealous when Mrs. Packletide steals her limelight by supposedly shooting a tiger in India. Luna Bimberton became the subject of too much attention and became quite famous because of her exploits of tiger hunt. Thank you so much. If you like the video, kindly like, share and subscribe.